there are a lot of people in Hollywood who are secretly
Yeah.
pro AI and they want it to get better. They just because there's a very vocal minority who are ruining it for everybody else, they have to keep it quiet.
Dude, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
You were not sure that you had anything just say here to add to
Yeah,
the.
I'm kind of like I said, I'm kind of a lone wolf creator here. I'm just on my own. I'm not really part of any groups or I don't know. I've got some contacts here and there, and I'm in some CPP programs, but other than that, I'm just kind of a loner. So I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of insight into, the AI scene or the AI video filmmaker scene. I just do my own thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not as interested in the scene. I'm more interested in kind of like your how you came to it because you have I mean, first of all, I'm a huge fan of yours. You have a cool aesthetic and what is coming up in these conversations is like everyone has their own take. You have your own constellation of references and inspirations that make your stuff unique. And I'm curious, like, were you a filmmaker before this? I know you said you're a designer. Like,
No,
oh,
actually, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. That's what, if you'd asked me at 10 years old what I was going to be, I was like, oh, I want to be George Lucas. That was my trajectory as a kid. But then as a teenager, I started playing guitar and writing songs, and I got really into music. And I was already starting to playing in bands and as like a 16-year-old. And pretty much from my 20s to my 30s, I was just music was it. I just forgot all about writing and never really pursued my filmmaking interests. And then when I hit my 40s, I was like, oh, I'm not a rock star yet, so I better come up with something else. And in order to keep my music career going, I had to take a day job, and I just like sort of fell into doing graphic design. I had always been an artist since I was a little kid. And I, knew the basics. I studied a bit in school, but I never really pursued it. I just certainly didn't pursue a design degree or anything. But I just kind of lucked into getting some work as a designer. I just kind of faked my way into it and ended up working in like all the big ad agencies in New York City. I lived in New York City for a long time before I moved to LA. And I just freelanced at all the big ad agencies. I just learned on the job and that became my thing. I guess as soon as the music career went away, I was like, well, I'll just, settle in and just concentrate on design. That'll be my thing. But I still had the creative urge and I still wanted to write. So I got it back into screenwriting when I moved to LA. And my brother, he's in the business. He's a TV producer and writer, former actor, and a lot of my friends, people that I either know through him or kind of hung out together in New York City, now LA, are they're all actors and writers and producers, and some of them are pretty well known now.
oh wow,
So
I
I'm
can't wait
kind
to
of a,
hear what they think about AI, but we'll get to that. Keep going.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I mean, I was always around the film and TV business through friends and through my brother, and I've gotten to sit in a lot of like pitch sessions and stuff. But I used to actually, how I got into AI was my brother was, he's a TV producer. He had a deal with Netflix, and he was always, pitching new show ideas to not just Netflix but also other studios as well before he got his Netflix deal. And I used to do his pitch decks for him. And we used to do it the old fashioned way with InDesign and Photoshop. And, we would just like scour the web for images that kind of like suited the whatever show he want idea or movie idea he wanted to pitch. And we just kind of like cobble things together and, make an interesting deck as a PDF or a slideshow, whatever he wanted to present it as. And back, I guess this was in mid 2024. I had been seeing that AI images were starting to get really good. They used to be kind of really
Mhm.
fake looking, but they started to get realistic around that time. And I was like, well, how about this next pitch deck? We try AI images. And he said, well, I don't know. There's so much anti AI stuff in Hollywood right now. If we do it, we got to be real quiet about it and it's got to look great. So that was my goal right off the bat was I can't make sloppy images. because he's presenting this to studio execs and people who don't like AI. So we have to make it look as realistic as possible. And even this was 2024. This, when I look back at it now, it looks terrible. But at the time, it's like, oh, this is pretty good. And it wasn't like the deck wasn't like every single aspect wasn't all AI imagery, but we had a lot of that featured in the deck, and apparently everybody liked it. So that kind of gave me the encouragement to keep learning AI images. And I started off at like Leonardo, I think was my first one, and then I graduated onto Midjourney, and then I started seeing that AI video was getting better as well. It was still terrible, but it was getting better. I think Luma had like just popped on the scene and Runway was already around. But Luma, I got a Runway sub and I got a Luma sub. And Luma seemed to like really work for me at the time. I don't use it anymore, but back then it was like great. I was just churning out all these videos constantly. And I was like, I better start doing something with this. I'll open up an Instagram account and I'll just start posting mainly I started off with images, and then as I got better at doing the videos, I just switched over to just videos, only occasional images.
Did you treat it like were you like scheduling it? Were you trying to like stick with like an algorithm, or were you just kind of posting whenever,
Yeah,
willy
I didn't
nilly?
know anything about algorithms at all at that time. I kind of like, I've been on social media for ages, but I just never thought about it. And I didn't even, like I had a Twitter account and now X, and I had a personal Instagram account where I would occasionally post. Still play music, and I would occasionally post songs of mine, just mainly for my 30 friends on there. And the same with YouTube. I had a YouTube channel for like ages and ages, and I would just post my own music on there, or I would do gear demos and stuff. But all of that stuff I switched by the end of 2024, when I saw I could actually make AI videos like maybe a little bit longer than just like 6-second clips. I started making like little short films. That's when I switched over my YouTube channel to just AI. I started a new Instagram page just for AI. I came up with the Grindhouse Glitch brand, and just started learning about how to build a brand on social media. And it's like a lot of trial and error. I did a lot of dumb things like not posting consistently. And one of the things that was really crazy was I got on TikTok and Instagram pretty early on. I got a lot of followers, but apparently they were all bots. And I noticed that my engagement just all of a sudden just went nowhere. And I was just basically like shadow banned because I had a decent amount of followers on both platforms, but nobody was watching my videos at all. I was like, how can I have thousands of followers and nobody's reacting to anything? So I had to do like the manual purges of the bots, go on there one at a time, try and figure out who's a bot, who's not a bot. On TikTok, it took me weeks
Whoa.
because I had like, I don't know, like 5,000 followers or something like that. And same on Instagram. I got rid of thousands of followers. And that hurt my channel as well, or my page and TikTok as well. It just like killed off the momentum for a long time. Instagram went 6 months with nothing. I was like, well, I'll just focus on like X now, I guess. But then all of a sudden, Instagram just like came back for me, and I had like one viral post. And when VO3 came out, I always like make sure and test the new models, and I post like some tests on there. And for whatever reason, people were really wowed by VO3, and I had this one video that went viral on all the platforms, but especially on Instagram. And from that point on, I just started just building more and more followers. Not that I have a large page, but for me, it was like drastic. I like doubled in like a couple weeks.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I mean, I know sticking on the engagement thing, I think today or yesterday you were posting on X that you thought X something changed. It seems like the algorithm keeps changing on X, and you said you don't feel like you're getting reach as much, or
Definitely. Well, I had you. I'm sure you saw it. Like I guess this was last month or maybe it was March. I had this one video that got millions of views, and it just went insane on X. And like when you get something that goes really viral like that, I got like 3 million views on just this one video.
Uh,
Um, but all of a sudden, when the algorithm sees that you don't have another follow up
mm,
post that does that 3 million, then it's like, oh well, maybe this count is a fluke, and we're not going to push them as much. I had like one video after that get 1 million views, but then ever since then, I'm getting nowhere near there.
so weird.
I might get like, I might be lucky and get 50,000 on X, maybe. It depends on how many breasts are in the
Yeah.
the only videos that do well for me. It's crazy, but the only ones that do well have to have a very hot chick
Yeah.
in revealing clothing, which is not really something that I do all the time. It's like occasionally I throw it in there because
Yeah.
I do that because I learned early on with, especially on TikTok, those were the only videos that would ever do anything. I would post, horror, sci-fi, fantasy. I do this whole range, giallo, but then I would do like one just like, influencer girl, just
Yeah.
that randomly. And that one would do like 10 times, 100
Yeah.
times the views with any other video.
Dude,
It'd be so stupid.
that was, I mean, my biggest video was like the Bambi. She's like in a bikini, like a skull bikini, and
Yeah.
it's gone the biggest, but it's also ironically the one that that video, models censor. So it's like I either use Grok, but then it's like I don't love Grok for generating video, like you have to really cut it down a lot once you get the raw stuff. It takes so much editing and so much
Yeah.
work, and so it's like, and it's not even my interest, like but so that's funny though that you have the same experience, like
Yeah,
you
and
have
other people told me the exact same.
wow.
It's always the video that you don't expect to do well that goes crazy. Like I got most of my following on TikTok. I had this, it was, I think, literally like a 6-second video of an attractive woman. Like she was like she's like kind of like facing the camera and then she turns to the side. You see her like profile. And she was like not in a bikini or anything, but you could see her body through the dress and stuff. And 6 seconds, it's just her turning. She doesn't say anything. There was no audio back then when I did this. I think I added some music over it, and it just went ridiculously viral. And I got like most of my following on TikTok from that one post. And people kept commenting and commenting, and also it went viral on Instagram, and just the pervy dudes like commenting like, "I love you, I want to marry you," and they think that I'm the model or something, like marriage proposals and stuff and DMs. And like I had to like archive that post. I got so sick of it after a while. It lasted a long time, like a year,
Uh,
well into 2025. Like,
internet pervs, can't live with them, can't live without them, man.
yeah.
Well,
Or
oh,
it was the same with that, the one I was just telling you about that did millions of views on X in March. That was the Luciana the maid, which I was just like a throwaway thing. I just was like, this looks funny. I'll just animate this, make it an Italian sex comedy clip. And it just went ridiculously viral. And so many like porno accounts on X were reposting it. And
whoa,
I was like, I would go and see, well, who's reposting this? I'd check it out. Like, oh my God, I'm like in the middle of all this porn.
that's cool. It's like class it up, guys. Well, this is interesting because this is something I want to touch on. Is that I feel like those clips that you post of like and they're not even, they're I love these small cinematic moments. One of my favorite directors is Eric Romer, and he makes these like just like very, I mean, ostensibly simple films about people just talking about their relationships, but they're so compelling. And when I watch them, it's like a magic trick. I mean, like a lot of cinema, but I'm like, how is this so compelling and relatable? And your stuff has that, like these little moments and little like low stakes like drama things happening, and I love that stuff. And I could watch that forever. And I think that's gonna. I mean, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, like how you feel about it and how you see that in
Yeah.
AI. Like given that there's so much Marvel stuff and people are doing fight scenes, and I'm like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I get sick of that stuff. I mean, I've made some, but I'm not really into superheroes. I don't watch those movies really. I did in the early on when they started making them again, and I don't know. I'm just not into it. Um, I'm more of like a vintage horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and thriller guy. So, um, yeah, I I like the as soon as dialogue became a thing in AI, as soon as we could do first like decent lip sync on Kling and some of the other platforms and Runway at it too. But like once we got actual dialogue in video, like with Veo 3 and now Dance 2 and all the others that have it now, that was just like a game changer because it could create these normal scenes that you would be in a movie that don't have to be spectacle. They don't have to be and they don't have to be fight scenes. They don't have to be like, I don't know, everybody wants to do like I can understand it, right? Because it gets more clicks. But I was more interested in pushing the limits, like how can we get realistic acting? Can we do like a normal scene from a normal movie? And let's see if this is possible. And of course, my whole brand, the Grindhouse Glitch thing is I'm doing vintage cinema, vintage genre cinema. Um, Sometimes I stray into other avenues. I like to mix it up, but that's mainly my thing. So that's what I had to kind of concentrate on to actually have a brand that I could market. It's like, okay, it's sci-fi, fantasy, thriller, but basically like stuff that's influenced by the 60s through the 90s.
Yeah.
So
Well, that so do you have a goal? Is this leading somewhere? Do you want to make a series? Do you want to make a
yeah,
feature? Yeah.
I think my original idea was I would eventually make a feature. I was hoping that AI would get good enough where I could do a whole, I don't know if it's not going to be 2 hours. I don't know if anybody will sit through a 2 hour AI movie. Maybe it's got to be amazing. But I was like, if I could get it over an hour, like maybe an hour and 15, maybe an hour and a half, but have a real movie, that was like the end goal. That was what this should all be leading up to. Other than that, I was thinking that I would do it just maybe as a way to get some work, because
Mm.
graphic design is being automated. Graphic design is being um, changed completely by AI, and I know there's not going to be a lot of designers like me in the future. It's going to be totally different. I don't know. We don't know yet how AI is going to change it, but jobs are definitely going away.
Would you speak to that a little bit more? Like, do you kind of where do you like see the artist or the human? Like, is there just gonna one person at say like a advertising firm that oversees all the AI agents or something, or
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't.
yeah,
It's hard to say because I don't know. Give you an example. Like there's an agency that I work for right now. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it in case they watch this, but
yeah, generic
they,
agency.
yeah, one of my clients, because I have multiple clients, but they are actively looking to get rid of my job. They are. I've been told that they have um, consulted with AI firms that are promising, because a lot of stuff that I do for this company is presentation work. It could be like PowerPoints and stuff like that, and occasional video work. And with the PowerPoints especially, they want to not have to pay a human to do it, or they want to get it automated so that they can have their account people they have these scripts that they write up of all the information that they want to present. They just want to have like a program they could just dump it into and let it design the slides for them. And if it's can make updates on the fly, great. But they don't want to actually have a person do it, like, which they pay me a lot of money to do. So I don't know. My type of job, I don't know how long it'll survive.
It's interesting though, because I always think like, well, great. So fire the graphic designers. You got the accounts people writing their scripts. Plug it into an agent. They'll get something back, but then they're screwed if they want to change something or if they go into DaVinci or whatever. It's like, well, you don't know how to do anything. So it's like, now what? Now you go hire them back, but they already got they're working on their
Yeah.
show or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
don't
know,
I don't know what they're thinking other than they want to just save
right?
money and time. They just want things done quicker, and because the budgets on some of these projects get pretty big, and their clients were large brands would love to be able to pay less for campaigns.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's hard to
Um,
say.
I was on that PJ Ace. He spoke this morning on like a Wonder video, and he was saying like he's moving away from ads because he does see them. Everyone's trying to like automate ads, and except for of course like high, big top tier stuff. But and he's moving into series and just trying to make like original stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's taking off in China. Those micro dramas.
yeah,
I think that it will spread to the West at some point. We definitely noticed that with AI videos, when you do long form videos, people are impressed, but very few people watch it. That's the thing. They might click on it for a few seconds, go like, "Oh wow, you did a 20-minute movie. That's really cool," but they're not watching it. And I can see with my own self, I haven't done anything that long. The longest I think I've made is 5 minutes. But on YouTube and all the other platforms, you can track, how long your audience is watching, and like people are bailing so quickly at all of these. There's very few people who will sit to the end,
yeah.
and they will sit through a 15-second video, but getting them to sit through a 5-minute video even is really hard. It's more likely to happen on YouTube, but
That's so interesting. Do you think there's something about um, setting the context for viewing visual entertainment, including driving your ass to a cinema or going on to Netflix and choosing through different 30-minute an hour series that has to do like you kind of know like what you're in for versus you're scrolling through a lot of garbage, you're trying to avoid garbage online, so you're just not in the mindset, you're not.
yeah, yeah, I think definitely on like Instagram and X and TikTok as well. People are they're scrolling so fast sometimes. They're just looking for that one thing that makes them stop for a second, and maybe it's got to be a visual that hits them right away. Your first few seconds are so vital with AI video. You don't even have time to do like proper movies where you can, with a movie, an hour and a half, you're getting your first 10-15 minutes of just like easing people in. Very few movies just go right into the action right away. They got to ease you in. You got to learn who the characters are. You got to learn who your protagonist is. You got to get introduced to their life before the big change. But you don't have time to do any of that with AI video because because they're scrolling fast and they just want to get to the point right away. And if you don't get to the point right away, they're just scrolling right past you.
Yeah. You said something too, like about potentially making a feature, like it would have to be amazing. And I think that is so important because I see a lot of people making things and they think it's special because it's AI or because it's a kind of a novel aesthetic, and no one gives a shit. Like despite what the haters say, like no one cares what tools are used. They want it to be compelling, and I think it's rare you see like people with like just whether it's a love of cinema or filmmaking background or whatever, being able to make pieces that are compelling, whether they shoot it with the camera or they shoot it with AI video. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that worries me is because this goes back to like, what was the name of? There was some CGI movie that was made, I want to say, in like, I don't know. It was got in close to 20 years ago. It was a big deal because it was like CGI animated the whole thing. It wasn't a Pixar movie, but people were complaining about the eyes of the characters. Like they hated this movie because the eyes looked dead on all the characters. It had an animation style to it, but it was semi-realistic. I don't know, was it the Beowulf or one of those, something like that?
Oh, was it like Polar Express? Maybe was it
I don't
like
know.
that?
It was around 20 years ago,
Okay,
and but
Polar.
that stuck
Okay,
with me at the time, though.
yeah.
With people saying like the CGI characters were hard. It was hard to watch a feature film with these characters because the eyes seemed dead, and a lot of people complained about that.
Hmm.
And so that's something I worry about with AI because a lot of times people will post snarky comments, like "Why did your character not blink?" And
Hmm.
it's with an hour and a half with people like watching your characters. You got the video model has to be on point. You got to make sure, and you also need to have you have to run so many takes because you could have like a generally good take in one generation, but there's just like one thing wrong. Like maybe the character is not blinking, but everything else is cool. But that's the type of thing where somebody, if they already are predisposed to not really like AI, or they're just kind of on the fence, if you give them an excuse to be pulled out of the experience, they're
Yeah.
going to. So I don't know. I got high standards when it comes to that. So if I was going to do a long movie, it would either have to be like in a purely animation style, not realistic, or if it was going to be realistic, it has to be so good. Like it can't. People can't be nitpicking like every
Yeah.
few
B-
minutes. Like,
But
oh,
don't you
why?
think that the nitpicking is a byproduct of the some things wrong with the filmmaking where it's not like if you're paying attention to the eyes, like something's wrong with the story or the filmmaking, don't you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah,
The nature of like these short clips that we're posting online, that people aren't really, they don't have the time to get wrapped up into a story.
totally.
They're
Yeah.
just kind of like, they're just reacting to it, just as a visual thing. So yeah, it's quite possible with like a longer form piece, if you get people to get over the AI hurdle, whatever it is that's holding them up from liking it, then maybe they, if the storytelling is great and
Yeah.
everything is good except for maybe a little bit of imperfections with facial movements and eye blinking and stuff like that, maybe, yeah.
I mean, well, dude, I mean, I, I, I mean, that's why I'm like doing this pod and like talking. I mean, just talking to artists who I think are like so uh strong and compelling, and I'm like, I guess I'm a weirdo because I'm like scrolling trying to find like the best, and I'm like, oh, I would like to see a feature, a longer form from this creator. I realize like not everyone is using social media that way, but that's how I look at it. I'm like, oh, this is something, and for me, I forgive I'm not even like paying attention to the imperfections when the filmmaking and the vision is like so strong and the aesthetic is strong, and this person, is like drawing from so much. Um, for me, I
Yeah.
just and that's how I am with movies too. I don't notice anything. I'm like a goldfish. I don't notice if you bring me into the dream, I'm just like I forget. Like I'll rewatch movies I don't
Yeah.
remember stuff.
Well, I watch a lot of what most people consider to be bad movies.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the old Italian genre films that I love, that I always like pay tribute to. They're technically bad films,
Right.
but I can sit through them. I love them, and like I understand that. Yes, they're not like Hollywood, you know, huge multi-million-dollar productions, and they have little issues here and there. But I get past all that because
Yeah.
I love the vibe.
Yes.
That's in the movies. They don't even have to really even make sense. A lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
Italian films are more like dream logic, especially the horror stuff. Um, but that's just my vibe. I just like that. So yeah, I give it a pass. And say, any like old horror movies, low budget horror movies from the 60s and 70s, it's like I don't really hold them up to like the same standards as I would like a huge Hollywood blockbuster. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is it's got good characters, good story, and it just like immerses you in like a great environment, like a fun, just great vibe.
That's so interesting because I mean, is there an analog? Is there anything like that today? I mean, did those show on like drive-ins, I'd imagine, or just like small theaters? Like, because it sounds like potentially AI could fill that space. Because like we're literally we're
Yeah.
following timelines of cinema that don't exist. Like, making new.
It's funny that so many people, when they watch my stuff, they comment like, "Oh man, I can hardly wait for AI to get really good so that we can bring back this style of movie." And they'll say, like it could be like I'm doing maybe like an old Hammer horror tribute, vampires and gothic horror, very 70s, and people want that look. They want a new movie that has that look and that feel to it. And I get those comments all the time.
Mm.
There's just this great desire to have new movies that don't look like the way Hollywood movies look today.
I mean, your shirt, man. I mean, can you imagine a film that came out today that wild and colorful and just
Yeah,
like bonkers? It could be so awesome.
yeah, exactly. But we can do it with AI. That's the cool thing. I mean, It's really good, especially like models like Sea Dance too. It's well trained on old movies, and it can do those styles very well. Now it's got issues, and it needs to be fixed. And hopefully, the next generation will be even better. Hopefully, by next year, they'll have that stuff ironed out. But yeah, I mean, we can do those old styles, but make them new and fresh again. But
Dude,
it's
I
the
mean,
look that people want, and like people,
yeah,
a lot of people just they love some of my Technicolor stuff, and they're like, "Why can't
yes.
they make Technicolor movies anymore?" Well, it's because right now the process is too expensive, and it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, AI can bring that look back.
I mean, dude, I was I was telling Ryan Lightbourne this, and I same with you. Like, I would go see that your film in a theater. Like, can you imagine going to the Beverly? Like, there, and that could be a way to revitalize the industry or theaters. You have an old theater, and you start showing, more movies or something. And also, physical media is so big. Like, you have a boutique label that releases like these cool movies. I
Yeah,
mean, that would be sick, man. And you see, so you have all these people that are like running around with their heads cut off, whereas there's so much potential here to revitalize like cinema and the industry, you know?
yeah, yeah. I've never felt like the cliche now is like the AI bro says, "Oh, Hollywood's cool," but and like
Right.
that doesn't interest me. I don't. I have a lot of friends in the business, and I
Same,
live in
same.
Hollywood. I don't want the city to go under, and I don't want the industry to die off. I want it to change because I think it's in the wrong direction right now. It's taking a bad course. But yeah, I always felt like the type of stuff that I do is like I want to, it could be like previs. There's so many filmmakers now, and I get a lot of filmmakers contact me and hire me to teach them AI and teach them how to make trailers and stuff. And there's a big interest in using AI for previs and for making trailers that they can sell. They can sell pitch ideas to network studios, investors, etc. And I've had some pretty big clients. So and I know the overall sentiment is anti-AI apparently, but there are a lot of people in Hollywood who are secretly
Yeah.
pro AI and they want it to get better. They just because there's a very vocal minority who are ruining it for everybody else, they have to keep it quiet.
I wonder how long it's gonna. Like, I don't think it's gonna last more than 6 months. I mean,
Yeah,
it's already poking out every. The holes in the dam or water's
yeah,
coming out
yeah.
everywhere.
You can
So,
see it
yeah.
definitely.
Um, that's interesting. Well, do you have any thoughts about like the future of entertainment? I mean, I'm getting all kinds of, some people are very pessimistic and think it's just going to be slop. I mean, some are optimistic that that ultimately there'll always be room for kind of the artist curating at the kind of fountainhead of the generations. I mean, where do you kind of think about the
Well,
artist and taste and
it's it's hard because the culture has become so fractured. When I was a little kid, we only had a few television stations, and we all watched the same television shows, and we all went to the same movies, and I don't know, there was a common culture. Now the culture is so fractured that everybody is got their own little niche thing that they're into, and there's so much content out there, and that's one of the bad sides, I guess, of AI is that there's just if everybody becomes a filmmaker, there's just going to be this massive ocean of content that it's just going to drown out. Like, how do you even nobody wants gatekeepers. They're like, we're going to get rid of the gatekeepers and we're going to open the floodgates. But God, if you don't have gatekeepers, some form or fashion, everybody gets drowned. Like, there's just no way to sift through it all to find the good stuff. So I worry about with AI right now is that maybe it gets to the point where with minimal effort, there's always going to be some effort, but with minimal effort, you can make like pretty decently long movies, let's say, maybe not features, but maybe even 5-10 minutes that's perfectly tailored towards you and what you like. Maybe you're in it, maybe your family's in it, maybe your friends in it, whatever. Um, but if people make such individualized content and that nobody shares anything in common anymore. And there's just like a million, 2 million, 5 million movies out there. Like I don't even know how many people would be making these. That I don't know, just all just becomes this is just giant sludge of content.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So yeah, there has to be, maybe there will be the equivalent of, like if you look at like with music, in the 80s, you had MTV come out, and that kind of like brought people together to watch videos, and everybody watched the same videos, and that kind of like resuscitated the music industry, especially rock music in the 80s.
Hmm.
Um, there's got to be some kind of channel that pops up, and there are tons already popping up, but for AI content. But there's got to be somebody at the helm who kind of like has some taste and chooses the good stuff to get out there. I don't know, I'm opposed to gatekeeping in one sense, but the other side of it is that you just have stuff getting lost. You have really talented people who never get seen because there's just too much content.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point.
And the other issue these days is with YouTube going crazy right now,
Hmm.
demonetizing people, removing channels. That seemed like it was going to be one of the main play hubs for like where people could post their AI, not just their shorts, but their long form movies, and hopefully get monetized, and turn this into a business for themselves. Start a production company and make their own movies. But now with them demonetizing and removing people left and right, and the AI community's been hit hard on YouTube. I don't know, like, where do we go? A lot of people say go to Rumble. I don't know. Rumble has a different kind of business model than YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's got to be some kind of central hub. There's got to be someplace that's safe for these movies. You can't have a platform that's going to like kick you off one day and like take all your money.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I mean, even the more cynical take is that they're doing it. They're kind of booting off independent creators because they're planning on just flooding with their own AI stuff. Just
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know
yeah.
what they're doing. I think it's more that they have switched over to AI moderation so
Mm,
heavily that
yeah.
there's no humans involved anymore.
Yeah.
And it's become so automated, because all the big tech companies are firing people left and right. Um, and they're outsourcing a lot of their workers to India and stuff. And I don't know if there's anybody really at the helm anymore. Like,
Oh my God. Yeah.
obviously, YouTube obviously knows that this has been a huge um, negative news story for them, but they don't seem to care. Nothing's changing.
You made me think like there is gonna be a point in our lifetime when like we're not gonna know when AI is totally taken over like every kind of facet of our civilization, and you won't really. It's just gonna be humming in the background, and that's wild. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's good. I mean, I'm an optimist. But it's wild to think about.
I had my only run in with YouTube lately was I found some people who were reposting my videos and
Oh.
not, mentioning me, or they're claiming it was their own work and stuff. So I filed some copyright claims, even though I have not, on these particular videos, I have not gone through the process of doing the official copyright paperwork, but I could copyright them. They are, there is human involvement in all of them, and they are copyrightable. Just for a short 15-second clip, I haven't done it, but still, I say this is my work. I made this. I can prove that I made this. I can show you how I made it. And so I filed the claims, and YouTube just gave me the runaround with these automated email responses, clearly not written by a human, and they just weren't even like listening. I would reply. They would say, "You got to show us this, show us that." I'd put everything in the email, and the next email I would get would be like they didn't even like pay attention to anything I said. It's
Man.
just like there's no one there. There's no human reading the email. It's all AI moderated. I had also that happened on X as well. Like, trying to remember what it was. Oh yeah, I kept getting posting videos that were getting content warnings, like sensitive content, and a lot of it was not sensitive at all. I don't really do gore. I don't do nudity just because I don't want to get blocked on social media, and but I kept getting these flags on my posts, so I contacted X's customer support, but it was just AI, and it would tell me, like, oh, here are the steps you got to go to, and it would give me a link, right? And I go to the link, and the link would be like error message website,
Fuck.
like nothing there. So I go
Oh,
back, like, the link you gave me was wrong,
it's a
and
nightmare.
it would just repeat the same thing. And go, oh, well, try this link. Hit that. It's the same link. It still takes me to the error page, and it never got resolved. Eventually, I just like, I don't know. The problem just stopped. I don't know what happened, but I never got a human. I never
Wow.
got any resolution to it, other than eventually I stopped getting the sensitive warning tags. And I don't know if it was somebody reporting, could have been, some anti AI person, like, just reporting my posts. I think that happens
Hmm.
a lot.
Oh, interesting.
I think that happens especially on YouTube a lot. People get, because I always get like downvotes on YouTube for stuff that's pretty good. Like, I don't,
Of course.
my stuff's not amazing, but it's pretty good. There's no
Yeah.
reason for anybody to dislike it. If it's not your thing, just click it off. But there are anti AI people who just purposely go out of their way to dislike
Hmm.
and report stuff. So I had that happen where, like, I would get into like in the early days of AI, when I was just getting started, and I would get in these flame wars with people, anti-AI people, on, like, whether it was on threads or sometimes Instagram comments, but usually on threads. That's where, like, that was like the blue sky of
Yeah. Yeah.
the Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook meta world. Um, yeah, and I would get into an argument with somebody about AI, and because I had my YouTube linked on my Threads account and Instagram, I would go over to my YouTube page, and I would see immediately I started getting some dislikes on all my videos. I'm like, it's this person. They were pissed off at me for arguing with them about AI, and they went to my YouTube channel and just started disliking everything. So,
Shoot.
it's like,
Well, is that, I mean, have you found, what is it like in real life, given that, you're here in LA and surrounded with people in the industry? I mean,
I
it's
people
okay?
I think face to face,
Yeah.
nobody ever really
Yes.
says it. They're like,
Yes, you're
I
right.
have a neighbor. Um, I went outside, I was walking my dog, and ran into a neighbor who I occasionally say hello to, and we just got on the topic of, like, what we do for a living. And I mentioned that I'm also, he's a designer, I'm a designer. And I was like, but, lately I've been getting into AI. He's like, oh, AI, oh man, man. I was like, well, I don't really, I'm not like doing like shady stuff with it. I'm doing like cinematic stuff. I'm trying to do like visual effects for studios and stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh, well, that sounds pretty cool." And by the time the conversation was over, he was like into it, and he was
That's
like, he
great.
wanted to learn about it. But he
Yeah.
started off like definitely being like, "I hate AI," and he actually said that. I used to think I hated AI.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, I'm hearing more, like I listen to this podcast, the All In podcast with these big tech billionaire bro guys, and they're like, there is a huge messaging issue with AI companies and the general public, and they need to get on it fast because the general sentiment is like, this is just something that a bunch of rich guys are going to use to get rich, control us. It's not going to help anyone. Whereas, of course, as you know, like all you have to do is start using a chat bot to see how amazing it is, and you just go from there. I mean, it
Yeah,
literally will like meet you wherever you're at, and then I mean, to me, I think it's a miracle. But as
yeah,
far as yeah,
I think it's cool. I mean, there are definitely bad sides to it, and a lot of times, when people complain about slop, I agree with them. Like, I don't like the slop, and I hate it when my own stuff gets sloppy, and I always apologize for it in my posts. Um, yeah, I mean, people need to do better with it. There is a lot of garbage, but then again, there's a lot of garbage movies made too, and the regular
yes,
movies, a lot of garbage television shows. So it's not
yes,
like AI is
absolute
unique
slop, network
but
slop, man.
it's just a bit more in the AI world right now, because it's so easy to
Yeah,
make. So
yeah.
there's more of it. But yeah,
But I mean, I was at no, I mean, forgive me if you know anyone who work on these shows, but I was at my folks' house and they're watching like a procedural, a cop procedural, just,
right.
and it would, dude, it was like it was lit so bad. I mean, it was like an indie film. It was like horrible. Like, and acting was bad. I was just like, this
Yeah,
is slop, dude. This is absolute slop. Like, no one
yeah,
cared about it from story to production. You know, it's just there to sell commercials and stuff to my folks.
yeah.
You know,
It's always like with me, I don't watch a lot of current stuff.
yeah,
I'm a movie collector and I've got a large
same.
Blu-ray 4K collection. So I'm mainly watching old stuff. But I will watch whatever, if people say, no, this is a great new television show, like once a year, twice a year, I will check out whatever the big show is.
Yeah,
And of course, whatever my brother has a show that's running on Netflix, I will subscribe to Netflix to watch the whole season of his show, and then I'll unsubscribe a month later.
totally.
But just like last time I went, this was a few months back, I resubscribed to Netflix after a couple of years off. And man, I was surprised by just how awful everything is on there. I could not find shows that I wanted to add into my watch list at all. I was like, man, this is rough these days. What have they done to this network? But I
Yeah,
mean, there are gems there, but it's just
absolutely,
harder to
absolutely.
find. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's television today is kind of weird. Of course, movies are very weird now.
yeah. We just saw Hokum, and it was so good, man.
Oh, really?
Just, oh my God, just so inspiring. And so that's why I'm like, I don't think cinema's dead. There'll be these great movies that pop. Like, I loved Weapons, made a ton of money. You know, it was well done,
Yeah.
super weird. It's like there's still some juice there. And I also, we didn't even talk about, but AI is going to be so great for like hybrid production, like to support,
Oh, yeah.
live production. I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah,
Yep. There's so many things you can do with it. I mean, that's why you got guys like Ben Affleck investing
yeah, yeah,
in in AI stuff because even though they complained about it, they realized, oh, this is going to save a lot of money and it's going to be great for indie filmmakers who traditionally could not afford to do reshoots, or at least not at the same level as a big studio production. There's so many things you can fix. I mean, you can, like with
yes,
C dance, for like right now, let's say you have a shot where like the boom mic comes into the shot, and maybe you would use, I don't know, After Effects or whatever people do to like, try and mask it out. You could just run the video through C dance and tell it, get rid of that boom mic at 6 seconds and it'll get rid of it. And you do have to upscale afterwards. You do have to do like a little bit of masking, probably using on top of the original shot, which is how I do it when I edit with C dance. But I mean, that's amazing for filmmakers.
amazing.
And, if they didn't get all the coverage that they needed,
Yes,
you can just take some shots and run into Nana Banana and say, hey, can you
dude.
some other angles here?
Yes,
Or maybe you needed a little bit more time at the end of a scene, made a little bit like called cut a little bit too soon. You need a little bit more at the end of the scene. You need to run some more dialogue. And instead of getting the whole crew together and reshooting the scene, you can just add a bit of dialogue on the end and whatever you got to do. And of course, it's great for B-roll. You can do all your fake location shots with it.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think every filmmaker that I've talked to about it, who, didn't know anything about AI, and I'm teaching them, they're all amazed by
mm,
the possibilities.
that's great.
Now, it
Yeah,
still has a way to go,
yeah. Yeah, but as you know, I mean, it's moving so fast. I mean, it's moved faster in the last 3 6 months than it did in the last 3 years. I mean, it's definitely an exponential curve.
Yeah,
It seems like. I mean, it's wild.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like 1 month
Yeah,
in AI land is like a year
yeah.
in traditional filmmaking. So
Do you? I guess we can like start to wrap it up. Like, I'm curious, like how you are very consistent. You post a lot. How do you kind of balance that? How do you think about it in terms of like, you know, maintaining your brand, trying to feed the algorithm versus like, you know, maybe thinking about a longer form thing like and work, you work. Like, how are you balancing all this? How do you?
it's very difficult
Yeah.
because I'm still in the phase of trying to build my social media presence, which means I have to constantly just feed the algorithms, which means bare minimum, you got to be posting twice a day. Excuse me. Um, and it's a slog, because I don't always have two ideas every single day. So, sometimes I just have to do low effort stuff. Like yesterday posted, like just this demons dancing.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
stupid, it's just something that you just throw up there when you have no other idea. And some demons dancing, somebody's going to like it. Some people did. But I just have to keep the algorithm going so that I can continue to get more followers. Because eventually, if I want to do a long form film, I don't have the money to do that. It's probably going to cost anywhere from like, I don't know, 15, 25K. And depends, how it works out.
Sure, of course.
But I don't have that kind of money to spend. So I need to do a Kickstarter or something to get a crowdfunded project going. In order to do that, you got to have a lot of followers because even if you have 100,000 followers, only maybe 1% are going to give you any money. So you have to really build up your presence online first and get a lot of followers before you can start asking them for money. So that's the one thing I'm really focused right now on, just continuing to get my pages more prominent, getting more people to know who I am, which, like, it's hard to do that every time. I didn't even post anything today. I've got it for the rest of the night. I got to sit here and come up with some ideas. And between like 9 o'clock and midnight, maybe even 2 in the morning, I will come up with two ideas and just throw them out there. I have like certain things on Fridays. I have to do a giallo,
Mm, that's cool.
just my own personal thing that I set up early on. Like Fridays is giallo girl day. Um, and then I got tons of people asking for more of the Italian made Luciana videos, so I always have to keep doing those, though they're getting fewer and fewer likes every
Mm.
and views every one I do. Um, yeah, it's hard to balance doing the social media thing with also wanting to do longer form, because I do have like I had that one 4 minute short that I put out what, a month and a half ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy's Wonderful
Mm-hmm.
Dream, like Technicolor fantasy. So I've got part two, and I'm working on it. I've already started generating clips. I've got the script, but finding the time, it's like every day because I've got to do all this other stuff, to come up with two other short videos every single day. It's so hard to schedule everything because I'm still working a day job, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So that burnout is real because you have to constantly come up with stuff, and I don't even know. I've put out one, sometimes three videos a day, like every
Wow.
single day since definitely since late 2024, like certainly from like August 2024, every single day. I missed maybe a couple days here and there when I was sick. That was it.
Wow.
So even when I was sick, I would still try to put up a picture or something.
Amazing.
But
Uh,
that's really hard. I mean, that saps your creativity, definitely.
yeah, I feel it, man. I felt after I was grinding for that runway thing, I was like, I almost felt nauseous. It's a different burnout that you than you get if you do a like long day, writing or working on a set or something. It's like some different new weird form of like you feel
Yeah,
just like it's draining your
yeah. I definitely felt that last year. Just like I felt like my brain changing. This year, it doesn't feel that way to me. It just feels like a job that I don't want
mm,
to do all the time.
yeah.
I enjoy it. I still like doing it. I have goals, and I want, like I said, I want to make that feature someday, and maybe it'll be next year.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be this year, but
Yeah.
I have ideas. I have scripts, and it's
Amazing.
just a matter of finding the timing, then getting the money, and also I would need to hire a team because doing it by yourself is just
Yeah.
so hard. You don't want to be like Phil Tippett doing Mad Guy.
Yeah, which of course is incredible, but
Well, I love it, but
wow.
it's just
Yeah.
like, what, he took like 30 years or something to
Right,
do
right.
that.
Did he do it all himself or did he have
No,
any?
he
Okay,
he
okay,
did
yeah.
he did bring on a team to help him, but not a large team.
Wow.
But he also put it aside for quite a long time, I think.
Right, that's right. Well, that's maybe a good way to end, and not to put you on the spot, but is there anything you're watching that's really been inspiring, or any like classics you think people have like slept on they should check out, or any books, any maybe?
Um, well, see what came in recently. I have to look at like
Yeah, yeah.
because I
Do you have
collect
a
so many
list?
Blu-rays. I've got like 5 million discs that like show up every month. Um, I of course I'm really into giallo movies, and I'm always
What's like the best giallo movie that you go back to or you rewatch, or what's a
it's I can't think even think in terms of
yeah.
best because I've seen so many. I've seen like close to 200. I don't know, 175
Wow.
in that area, maybe close to 200. I keep like a little Excel file that has a
Yeah,
list of
yeah.
them all because I want to knock them all out
Whoa.
eventually. And I think a lot of them are on disc now. I think there's definitely like 125 or so on disc, maybe more, maybe 150, and I've got almost all of them.
Wow.
But of course, everybody's going to say, well, you got to start with Bava and Argento. They're definitely the masters. I really love Umberto Lenzi's early Gialli, the sexy Gialli that he did.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I like Lucio Fulci's early Gialli. Um, I don't know. But as far
That's
as
cool.
like newer stuff, I can't tell you because I don't keep up with new stuff at all.
Really? Yeah.
And I feel bad because I have friends who are making movies now, and I don't even like see their stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you only have so much time.
Yeah,
Man, this
that's the
was
thing. AI takes up all my time now. Like I barely even watch movies because I get off of work and like between like let's say 5:30 and maybe 3 in the morning, I'm just doing AI every single
wow.
day.
Yeah. Yeah, that, I'm
And
every night I'm trying to make a effort to just like read. I'm like I gotta refill. I gotta.
yeah, I just got a
Yeah.
new book yesterday, so
Oh,
I have
cool.
to start reading that. I have
Nice.
not been reading it all lately.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I have to force myself to like on Fridays and Saturdays, bare minimum, throw in some movies because if you don't continue to watch movies, you're gonna forget how movies operate. Like you have to have that go because I never even went to film school or anything. I'm just kind of like learned on my own, read books, watch YouTube tutorials, but I watch movies constantly, like
Mm.
for years and years. That's all I do is watch movies. And since I got into I found myself not watching that many movies.
Mm.
Now I'm bringing all my movie knowledge into these,
Yes, yes.
but I'm starting to forget a little bit like how does dialogue flow, how do scenes flow. So I have to keep recharging that battery and making time to just watch movies. I'll knock out some AI videos in the morning, and then Friday night and Saturday night, just watch movies. And like I'm collecting all these discs, and I'm not like watching them half the
I
time.
know I'm the same dude. You're like I'm vinegar syndrome, man, and yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah, they get
yeah.
far too much of my money.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, well, it was like such a pleasure talking to you. This is going to be so great. I know people are going to be curious just about your thoughts, and this was awesome. It
Yeah,
was
well,
so.
thanks so much
Oh,
for having me.
yeah, my pleasure, man. Um, yeah, all right, man. Have a good night. Keep watching some
Yeah, you
movies.
too.
All right,
We'll
take
check
it
it out
easy, man.
online.
All right,
Bye.
peace. Later.